Hey, welcome back to the channel. So today we got the very last episode of Ninjago Season 10. It's called Endings, and there will be heavy spoilers for this episode in this video, so I do advise that you leave if you do not want to be spoiled and all of that. So yeah, we'll be talking about a lot today. This was a really packed season finale. So yeah, there's a lot that we're going to talk about, so let's get started. The episode starts out with Fate's flashback kind of ish, showing what happened in the realm of Oni and Dragon, and then pretty much from there the ninja do arrive, and Wu learns about the loss of Cole, and Kai forges the golden weapons. It's a very quick montage, almost like, and he is wearing his original gi, so I thought that throwback to the very first episode, the very first scene of Ninjago, was really amazing. Then we do cut to Cole, who is in the NGTV building, and barely manages to escape some of the Oni tendril. He still has his keys for the Earth Driller, so he actually uses it, and it was left behind in episode 95. He uses it to summon it to his location, and from there he's actually able to escape the Oni by going underground and finally getting to use his drill feature. Meanwhile, back at the monastery, people are fleeing and coming at the monastery to seek shelter, and the Oni do arrive led by Omega, and the ninja, Wu, Garmadon, and Faith all manage to fight him off for some time. But it's not going that well. There are a lot of Oni and there are very few ninja. And of course, more and more Oni are coming up by the second. And from there, Garmadon decides that he will take on Omega by himself. And something really, really weird happens. Garmadon he undergoes some kind of transformation where he becomes an Oni. And it's really weird. His face becomes an Oni mask, yet he still has his same printing. And he grows some tiny little horns, and it's really weird. He gets a staff. And he fights Omega for a bit, but then Omega eventually defeats him and he goes back to his normal form. But yeah, it's really weird. So the ninja go back into the monastery where they close the doors and shelter against the Oni. And from there, Jay quickly proposes to Nia since it might be the last time they're ever alive. So he quickly proposes to Nia and she does accept. So that's a cute little scene. And then the ninja Lloyd realizes that they can use the tornado of creation. So everyone, including Wu, Nia, Lloyd, and even Garmadon, who uses Spinjitzu, for the first time since episode 7 or episode 74, depending on what you count. And they all come together to form this Spinjitzu, the Tornado of Creation. Let me just say, this shot here is amazing. But yeah, so they do this, and somehow all the Oni are defeated by this. Floyd nearly dies, and he ends up going to the Departed Realm, which is this place where I don't even know, is this the Departed Realm? Either way, I think it's some kind of area between life and death, where he actually meets the first Spinjitzu Master. This is the first Spinjitzu Master's first true appearance in the series, and he asks Lloyd if he wants to come with him to the Departed Realm or go back to Ninjago, and Lloyd, of course, says he wants to go back to Ninjago. So they all celebrate their victory, but Garmadon is not good, actually. He's still in his evil form, and he leaves the monastery. He's kind of neutral or good at this point, depending on how you look at it, and he just leaves the monastery, and his fate is open-ended. And the ninjas celebrate, and they make a new little mural right under with all of their handprints. So we'll talk about the pros first. I think episode 98 was good for the most part. I enjoyed Cole's little side story. It was kind of rushed, like a lot of things in this episode, but I'll talk about that later. Yeah, it was kind of rushed, but I think it was cool. It was not super action-packed or emotional or anything, but it was quick and to the point, and it actually did seem kind of realistic. I liked the Oni invasion and the ninja making their last stand at the monastery. The Garmadon versus Omega fight was cool, especially where Omega does confront Garmadon and tells him that there is good in him. Yeah, the Tornado of Creation scene was amazing. It was really cool. It was the first time since season 1, and that was really, really cool. Very nostalgic. Overall, this season is really great as a legacy season, and even seeing Garmadon, the evil Garmadon, do Spinjitzu for the first time in years. Anyways, it was really an amazing scene, very nostalgic and powerful. I also enjoyed the golden weapon scene, the reforging of that, but I did have some problems with that, which I will discuss soon. Jay's proposal was cute as well, but again, there were some more problems with that I have as well. Some people can argue that Lloyd meeting the first Spinjitzu Master was unnecessary, but I highly disagree. It was a great scene, and it was 100% appropriate for the 100th episode of Ninjago. So yeah, those are some of the things that I did like about this episode. Even the end of the episode with the DN text, very appropriate for the end of the Oni and Dragon arc, and I really like the idea of making the new mural. I do feel like the scene where the Kai reforged the golden weapons was, again, pretty good, but it was really, really, really rushed. It was almost like a montage, and I didn't think that was really fit for it. This was a scene that a lot of importance was placed on in the last episode, and it's definitely an important scene, considering it's the freaking golden weapons. And I think it would have been a lot better had they actually slowed it down to show Kai's struggle and each individual weapon being crafted. I will say, though, it was nostalgic. The Oni invasion was good, but not great. I mean, I do feel like there were some problems. It was just kind of like mindless fighting. We did see Garmadon versus Omega, but not really the other Oni. And yeah, Oni Garmadon. We do have to talk about that. Very, very weird, and that brings up a lot of questions. So, isn't Garmadon's normal appearance his Oni appearance? So it didn't make sense. He's just able to transform like this at will. I mean, he's just able to do whatever. And even the way he looked, it was very, very cheesy. It was very, very weird. And yeah, I mean, not that good. I do feel like the timing of Jace's proposal was pretty bad. I mean, I get that it makes sense in the show. They're about to die. But just, I mean, from a writer's standpoint, it would have made a lot more sense to have done it after all of the conflict did end. Also, I mean, the Oni are just dead just like that. It just took one tornado of creation to kill them all. Yeah, I really wish we could have gotten more explanation. And one of the biggest open ends, the only open end of the story really after the Oni and Dragon arc is Garmadon. I am kind of disappointed that they didn't conclude Garmadon's story, and I really am disappointed. I don't mind an open-ended story, but the story of Garmadon has been going on for a long time. Started last year with Season 8, and the destruction of the Oni was really the perfect chance to purify Garmadon. But I feel a bit better knowing that he isn't fully evil now, and that even if they were to purify him in Season 10, it probably would have been rushed. And I do hope he returns and his story is concluded before the show's end. So, my final thoughts on the episode, I don't really think the plot was done as well as it could have been. This episode felt really rushed, and in the end, I do feel like episode 95 and this episode were quite rushed. And I think it could have been done better. They could have taken some time, maybe taken some stuff out. It was very, very rushed, and I think stuff could have been done better. Again, the plot, there were a lot of plot points that weren't explained. How the tornado of creation just wiped out all of the Oni is really beyond me. So the plot, not the best in this episode. Now, as for the characters, also, I don't really feel like there was any focus on characters that much in this episode. It was kind of a team effort, really, so I don't think that's a bad thing, but there just wasn't really that much individual focus on characters. There was quite a bit of action. I really love the Garmadon versus Omega 1v1. That was very cool to watch, and I liked the Tornado of Creation. It was really cool. And emotion as well, seeing the first Ninjutsu Master's first true appearance in the show, really. And that was very, very cool, as well as the Tornado of Creation. And for a 100th episode, it was really filled with a lot of references to the old stuff. From Kai and his blacksmith clothing, to the golden weapons, to the Tornado of Creation, and even seeing the first Ninjutsu Master, it was all very, very cool. So my final rating of this episode would be 8.75 out of 10. It was an okay conclusion to the Oni and Dragon arc. Again, it was really, really rushed, and it did suffer from that. But there were a lot of really cool scenes in this episode, like Lloyd meeting the first Ninjutsu Master, and the Tornado of Creation. However, I just really wish they had concluded Garmadon's arc. I mean, I think it's about time, and I would have liked to see that happen, and would have preferred if it wasn't as rushed. But I will post a video of my thoughts on this season soon, so yeah, stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone ever you know, and I will see you next time.